ERi-TV news broadcast crew and I, Dalit Sahaya, are now ready for your daily news briefing at 10:30 local time. But first, let us catch up with the major headlines. Call on farmers to introduce improved crop seeds in Walid subzone. Ambassador Sofia Tasfamaran participates in permanent court arbitration anniversary. Deadly Israel siege in Northern Gaza has Hezbollah returns fire. And Biden urges allies to stand by Ukraine ahead of the US election. On our local news, a call has been made for farmers to adopt improved crop seeds developed at agricultural research centers to boost their agricultural production. This call was made during an event organized at Aklalat Agricultural Center in Golij in connection with World Farmers' Day. The event was attended by Mr. Erifai, Minister of Agriculture. Mr. Yohannes Yosef, acting head of the center, indicated that the center is engaged in research across various fields, including vegetable and fruit development, livestock resources, water and soil conservation, agronomy, natural resource preservation, and agricultural engineering. He urged farmers to use crop seeds that are compatible with their region to enhance their agricultural output. Mr. Tsagai Brahane, Director General of Natural Agricultural Research Center, explained that the goal of the agricultural research is to develop crop seedlings that can resist drought, pests, and diseases, thereby enabling their agricultural yields. He further noted that promising results have been achieved in the development of hybrid dairy cows to boost milk production, as well as in the introduction of modern water and soil conservation techniques and the production of various high-yield crop seeds. Speaking at the event, Minister Erifai emphasized that agricultural research is fundamental to successful farming. He called on ongoing meetings and consultation with farmers to promote the use of improved crop seeds and encouraged farmers to seek advice from agricultural experts. Ambassador Sofia Tasfamaran, Eritrea's permanent representative to the United Nations, participated in the 125th anniversary celebration of the Permanent Court of Arbitration. The event took place at the United Nations headquarters on 22nd October under the theme From Old Conventions to New Horizons. It was attended by members of diplomatic community and legal experts. In her address, Ambassador Sofia highlighted Eritrea's recognition of the Permanent Court of Arbitration's crucial role in upholding international laws and promoting global peace. She affirmed on the respect for the rule of law in deeply rooted in Eritrean culture dating back to customary law that were orally passed down for centuries and codified as early as the 14th century. Respect for the law is a core part of the Eritrea's culture heritage, she stated, and seeking legal resolution to dispute has always been a natural course of action for Eritrea. She also emphasized that Eritrea's decision to resolve this maritime dispute with Yemen over Hanish Islands through the Permanent Court of Arbitration in the mid-1990s demonstrated by the country's commitment to addressing conflicts via international legal channels. The current branch of the National Association of Blind has provided sign language training to 160 government employees and students. At the closing event, Mr. Dejan Zeragabur, head of the branch office, stated that the training aimed at alleviating communicable challenges for visually impaired citizens. He also praised the contribution of the National Union of Eritrean Youth and Students and the Ministry of Education. Mr. ERi, head of the Ministry of Labor and Social Welfare branch, expressed the office's commitment to expanding sign language training programs. Meanwhile, Mr. Azazi Barakhat, head of the National Union of the Eritrean Youth and Students branch in Ansaba region, highlighted efforts in collaboration with the Association of the the social and economic challenge faced by visually impaired citizens. According to documents from the association, sign language training has so far been provided to 1,200 students, government employees, and members of religious institutions. The viewers will be back with the international news shortly. So stay tuned. Welcome back. Israel is pushing Palestinians in Northern Gaza to certain death in its deadly offensive and siege on the area, the Palestinian Authority's foreign minister says. It said in a statement that the occupation army is forcing residents of Northern Gaza to either flee under the bombardment or face killing that resembles a cycle of certain death. Genocide is unfolding in the Northern Gaza in its clearest form, marked by siege, starvation, forced displacement, destruction of buildings, aerial bombardment, targeting of health centers, and mass killings. The failure of the international community to stop this war of extermination has bolstered Israel to continue its deadly campaign, the minister added. On our last news, United States President Joe Biden has called on NATO allies to sustain our support for Ukraine during a visit in Berlin, has U.S. election next month that could disrupt military support for Kyiv. Biden's one-day visit to German capital last Friday saw him meeting Chancellor Olaf before they held four-way talks with French President Emmanuel Macron and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, with much of the discussion focused on how to end the fighting in Ukraine as Russia forces advance in east. We are headed into a very difficult winter. We cannot let up, said Biden, on what could be the last presidential trip to Europe with Kyiv and its allies, fearing the potential re-election of Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump, who has opposed a level of the U.S. military support for Ukraine. However, in what was likely to blow to Kyiv, the U.S. president said talks had yielded on consent for providing Ukraine with long-range weapons that Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has been requesting from Western nations for months. Washington and London have rejected Ukrainian requests for clearance to use donated long-range weapons against targets inside Russia, while Berlin has refused to send its own long-range terrorist missile system. Dear viewers, we've come to the end of tonight's news. Let's have a quick recap of the headlines. Zone. Ambassador Sofia Tzfamarian participates in Permanent Court of Arbitration anniversary. Deadly Israel siege of Northern Gaza as Hezbollah returns fire. And Biden urged allies to stand by Ukraine ahead of the U.S. election. That wraps up our stories for tonight. Thanks for watching and have a good night.